Our topic is program. In computing, a program is a specific set of ordered operations for a computer to perform. In computing terminology, a program is a specific set of instructions in sequence to perform computer activities. In the modern computer that John von Neumann outlined in 1945. In 1945, John von Neumann defines the program a one at a time sequence of instructions. In 1945, John von Neumann defined the program as a one at a time sequence of instructions that computer follows. He defines the program as a one at a time sequence of instruction that perform the computer activity. Typically, the program is put into a storage area. Typically, the program is put into a storage area. In computer, everything is stored in hard disk. The program is also stored in hard disk, that is called storage area. We can call the hard disk as storage area because in computer everything is permanently stored in hard disk. So the program is put into a storage area, that means hard disk, and it is accessible to the computer. And the storage area where we can put the program that is accessible to the computer, that means the memory, the program which is stored in hard disk, that is accessible to the computer. In computing terminology, a program is a specific set of instructions in sequence. In 1945, John von Neumann defines the program as a at a time sequence of instructions that computer follows. The computer gets one instruction and performs it and then gets the next instruction. The computer gets one instruction and performs it and then go to the next instruction. The computer follows the sequence. First it performs the first instruction, then after the completion of first instruction it goes to the next instruction, then after the completion of second instruction it goes to the next instruction. It means computer follow the sequence. That's it. Storage area or memory can also contain the data that the instruction operates on in. The storage area or memory can also contain the data that the instruction operates on. The storage area or hard disk, which contains the memory, the instruction means here is the program is a sequence of instructions that is stored in hard disk or storage area. So the instruction means it is the part of program. The instruction can operate on storage area. Note here, we can go for a note. A program is a special kind of data that tells how to operate on application or user data. A program is a special kind of data that tells how to operate on application or user data. A program is a special kind of data that tells how to operate an application or user data. Whatever we can put the information on our computer, then we can click on that. For example, we can go for the document, we can click the document, then it appears. In between that, when we can click the document, then the program according to that document runs, and it opens, it gives the instruction to the document to open it, then the computer open it. A program is a special kind of data that tells how to operate an application or user data. For example, in our computer we can click the document of ours, then the compiler activates. Whatever the program related to that document is written in high level language which is human understandable, the compiler converts it into machine language or low level language or binary language which is understood by the machine, and then it gives the signals to the storage disk or memory or hard disk, then it goes to the signal RAM, and then it gives the signals to the computer monitor, then the document opens. So it is the application, whatever the document we can say, our user data. Programs can be categorized as interactive or batch in terms of what derives them and how continuously they run. There are two types of programs that are batch or interactive or batch. There are interactive program or batch program. There are two types of programs depending on what derives them and how continuously they run. An interactive program receives data from an interactive user. There are two types of programs. Those are interactive programs or batch programs. Actually, programs can be categorized into two types: interactive programs or batch programs, depending on what derives them and how continuously they run. An interactive program receives data from an interactive user. Interactive program receives data from an interactive user or possibly from another program. Programs can be categorized into two types. One, interactive program or batch programs. It depends on what derives them and how continuously they run. An interactive program receives data from an interactive user. An interactive program receives data from an interactive user. There are two types of programs. One is batch and interactive programs are possibly from another program that stimulates an interactive user. A batch program runs and does its work. A batch program runs and does its work and then stops. Whenever a batch program runs and it works and then stops, batch programs can be started by interactive users. Batch program can be started by interactive users who request their interactive program to run the batch program. Batch programs are run by the interactive user who gives the order to the batch program, then the batch program runs. A command interpreter or a web browser is an example of interactive program. Web browser, we can go for the examples: Google, Mozilla Firefox. There are many web browsers in the internet. Those are the examples of interactive program, because whenever we click the Google browser, it opens it whenever we interact the browsers or Google or Firefox, then it runs. That is the example of interactive program. A program that computes and prints out a company payroll is an example of batch program. Program that computes and prints out a company payroll is an example of batch program. A program that computes and prints out a company payroll. There are some automatic programs, even though we cannot interact that they work suddenly. Whatever we cannot interact, the program runs automatically. That is batch program. For example, company payroll is the example of batch program. A program that computes and prints out a company payroll automatically is an example of batch program. A program or software or a code which prints out a company payroll automatically is an example of a batch program. Print jobs are also batch programs. Print jobs automatically print jobs automatically is an example of batch program. A program set or a code which print jobs automatically is an example of batch programs. When you create a program, you write it using some kind of computer language that is called high level language. Whatever we can write the program, that language should be called as high level language, that is human understandable. Whatever we can write on the computer screen as a code, it is called high level language. It is understood by only humans, not computer. Your language statements are the source program. Whatever we can write the code, that is called program also. After completion of the program or programs, you then compile the program or programs. The compile means it is a set of instructions or it is a set of programs. It is called a special software, or compiler is a special program, because compile option is the set of instructions. That means it's the set of programs. That is a special software, and the result is called an object program. After compilation, there will be a result that is called object program. There are several synonyms for object program. Whatever we can write on the computer screen as a code, it is only understood by the humans, not by the computer. Compiler converts the high level language, what we can write on the computer screen, that is high level language. Compiler convert into machine language. Machine language means binary language, which can only understand by the machine, and then it gives the result on the computer screen. There are several synonyms for object program. There are several synonyms for object program. There are many names for object program, including object module and compiled program. There are several synonyms or names for object program, including object module and compiled program. We can discuss those concepts later. The object program contains the string of zeros and ones called machine language that the logic processor works with. The object program or the result or output which contains the strings of zeros and ones called machine language. The output should be called as the object program. The output or the result should be called an object program. It contains the strings of zeros and ones called machine language. The output or result called object program, it contains the strings of zeros and ones. It is called machine language or binary level language or low level language, which is understood by the only machine. The machine language of the computer is constructed by the language compiler with an understanding of the computer's logic architecture, including the set of possible computer instructions and the length in an instruction. The machine language of the computer is constructed by the language compiler with an understanding of the computer's logic architecture. The machine or binary or low-level language of the computer is constructed by the language compiler. There are many kinds of compilers. The compiler's work is convert the high level language. High level language means whatever humans can understand the language. The compiler converts the high level language into machine language or low level language or binary language, which is understood by the only machine. That is the work of the compiler. It is the machine language is built on computers hardware or logic architecture, including the set of possible computer instructions and the length. Length means number of bits in an instruction. It includes the set of possible computer instructions like zeros and ones, depending on the length of the instruction. Length of the instruction is stored as zeros and ones. That is called machine language or low level language or binary language, which is understood by only the machine, not by human. Next, what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a set of well-defined instructions in a sequence to solve a problem. Algorithm means a set of particular instructions in sequence to solve the particular problem. Algorithm means a set of instructions in sequence to solve a particular problem. Next, qualities of a good algorithm. Number 1, input and output should be defined precisely. Qualities are characteristics of an good characteristics of a good algorithm. First point, input and output should be defined precisely. Whatever we can write on the computer screen, that is called input. Whatever we can get the result, that is called output. Input and output should be defined precisely. First, and second point is each step in the algorithm should be clear and unambiguous. Each step in the algorithm should be clear and without confusion. Each step in the algorithm should be clear. Each step in the algorithm should be very clear idea. Each step in the algorithm should be clear and without confusion. Whatever we can write the algorithm, that should be clear and without confusion. Third, algorithm should be most effective among many different ways to solve a problem. Algorithms are the best way to solve a particular problem compared to other ways. Fourth, an algorithm should not include a computer code. An algorithm should not include a computer code. Computer code means a set of programs, that is called code. Instead, algorithm should be written in such a way that it can be used in different programming languages. Whatever we can write as algorithm, it should be written as to use it in different programming languages. Examples of algorithms in programming. Examples of algorithms in programming. Write an algorithm to add two numbers entered by the user. Algorithm should be written as to use in multiple programming languages. So we don't want to write same algorithm for many different programming languages. That is saves our time. And our next topic is examples of algorithms in programming. The program is built with algorithms. Program is the set of instructions. An algorithm means it's a set of instructions in sequence to solve a particular problem. Algorithm is the plan for a program. First, we can build the algorithm to write a program. Algorithm is the idea of a program. Our next topic is examples of algorithms in programming. Examples of algorithms. There are many types of algorithms in programming. Write an algorithm to add two numbers entered by the user. Write an algorithm to add two numbers. Algorithm is a set of instructions in sequence. First instruction, step 1, start. Second instruction, step 2, declare variables number 1 and number 2 and sum. Our algorithm is add two numbers, that is variables. We can give it as number 1 and number 2, give some values to number 1 and number 2, and after that sum. Step 3, read values number 1 and number 2. Step 3, we can give the value to number 1 and number 2. And step 4, add number 1 and number 2. Step 4, add number 1 and number 2. And algorithm is a set of instructions in sequence. First instruction, step 1, start. Second instruction, step 2, declare variables number 1 and number 2 and sum. Declare variables number 1 and number 2. Whatever, we can add two numbers. Give the name of two numbers like A or P or anything. And sum. Step 3, read values number 1 and number 2. Step 3 gives the input for number 1 and number 2. Give some value to number 1 and number 2 as input. Step 4, add number 1 and number 2 and assign the result to sum. Sum is equals number 1 plus number 2. And step 5, fifth instruction, display sum. And step 6, stop. Step 5, display sum, that is the result of two numbers. And step 6, stop. And the final instruction is stop. Means it is the close or ending of the algorithm. And our next topic is definition of algorithm. The algorithm can be defined as a sequence of steps to be carried out for a required output from a certain given input. The algorithm can be defined as a sequence of steps to be carried out for a required output from a certain given input. Algorithm is a set or collection of instructions in sequence for giving output for a problem. Algorithm is a set or a group or a collection of instructions in sequence to give result to a problem. There are three main features of algorithm from its definition. From the definition of algorithm, we can derive three main features of algorithm. First, the essential aim of an algorithm is to get a specific output. First is the essential aim of an algorithm is to get a specific output. The important or essentiality of algorithm is to get a specific output, specific result to a problem. The aim or essentiality of an algorithm is to get solution or result or output of our problem. That is the aim of the algorithm. It is the first point. Second, an algorithm involves several continuous steps. Algorithm means a set or group of instructions in sequence. So algorithm involves in continuous steps. Third, the output comes after the algorithm finishes the whole process. After the algorithm finished, the last step will be the result or output of the program. So basically, all algorithms perform logically while following the steps to get an output for a given input. Algorithm is based on the logic because algorithm is a set of instructions to solve a particular problem. The output or result of the problem is depending on the logic. So algorithm is the set of instructions, means the instructions with logic. Our next topic is types of algorithm. Algorithms can be classified into three types based on their structure. Based on the algorithm structure, there are three types of algorithms are available. First type is sequence. This type of algorithm is characterized by a series of steps, and each step will be executed one after another. Algorithm is a set of instructions in sequence, so each step or each instruction executed after one. Second, branching. Second type of algorithm is branching. This type of algorithm is represented by the if-then logic problems. If a condition is true, the output will be A. If the condition is false, the output will be A. This algorithm type is also known as selection type. There is a second type of algorithm is called branching. This type of algorithm is represented by the if-then problems. If-then problems are defined by the branching algorithm. Algorithm is a solution to a problem. So, if-then branching is the second type of algorithm. This type of algorithm is represented by the if-then problems. Branching algorithm indicates the if-then problems. If-then is a logic. Here, in if-then, if means if a condition true, the output will be A. In if-then logic, there is a condition. If the condition is true, the output will be A. If the condition is false, the output will be B. This is the logic of if-then problem. The output is like that. This algorithm type is also known as selection type. This type of algorithm is also known as selection type. The second type of algorithm is branching. Remember, algorithm is a step of instructions for a problem solution. Second type of algorithm is branching. This is depending on the if-then problems. Here, a condition, if a condition is true, the output will be A. If false, if the condition is false, the output will be differ, like B. This type of algorithm, branching type of algorithm, branching algorithm is also known as selection type algorithm. Third type of algorithm is called loop algorithm. For this type, the process might be repeatedly executed under a certain condition. It is represented by while and for. Loop type of algorithm is third type of algorithm is called loop. For this type, the process might be repeatedly executed under a certain condition. The condition is very important in algorithm. In this type of algorithm, the condition is repeated. It is represented by while and for loop. Loop type of algorithm is the repeated condition. The third type of algorithm is called loop. In loop algorithm, the condition is repeated. The third type of algorithm is called loop type. In this loop type algorithm, there is a condition that is repeatedly performed until the execution. This condition is passed through while and for conditions. We can call it as while and for loop. The problems, but make sure the process will end after a number of loops under the condition. This algorithm type is also known as repetition type. After several times of repeated condition, here the repetition of condition is called loop. After several loops or after the repetition time, but make sure the process will end after the number of loops under a condition. This loop type algorithm, there is a condition is repeated. After many number of loops under the condition, the process ends and it gives the output. This is the loop type of algorithm. This algorithm type is also known as repetition type. Repetition type algorithm. Loop type algorithm is also known as repetition type. In loop type algorithm, the condition is several times repeated. That is called loop. After several times repeated condition means there are several loops. The end of the loops of many loops. In this type of algorithm, there is the condition is repeated through loops. After the ending process of all loops, the result will be given. So this type of algorithm is also known as repetition type, because through loops the condition is repeated. After several times of repeating loops, then there will be given an output. So this algorithm is also known as repetition type algorithm. The loop type algorithm is also known as repetition type algorithm.